Today, let's consider a young monk who was ill and suffering, and how the Buddha helped him understand concepts of self, suffering, and inconstancy or impermanence. Hi, it's Margaret Maloney, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm a Buddhist practitioner out here in the world, having experienced the loss of my loved ones and knowing how much my Buddhist practice helped me on my grief journey. And now, together we have this safe space to discuss death, dying, grief, and the Buddhist teachings that help us really understand attachment, impermanence, being compassionate, being death ready, and what it means to live a life so that we can have a peaceful death. Yep, it's a big topic, and we're going to take it on together. Let's go. It's almost the end of season 4. We have this episode and next week, and then we go on hiatus, where there will be special episodes dropped. You know how we usually do. If you've been with the show now for a while, you know that I take a hiatus in the fall, hopefully to regenerate, come up with fresh ideas, and then there'll be an episode, maybe one episode in October, November, and December, and most likely back in January. And that means this is a great time for you to send ideas my way. What would you like to cover in season 5? I don't have it mapped out yet. I don't even know for sure what's going to happen in season 5. And I would respect your input. So if you have feelings about this, please contact me and let me know. In the meantime, today we're going to consider the Jiliyana Sutta, which is from the Samyutta Nikaya, number 35, paragraph or point 74. It starts out, at Savatthi. Then a certain monk went to the Blessed One, and on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to the Blessed One, Lord, in such and such a dwelling, a certain monk, newly ordained, not well known, is diseased, in pain, severely ill. It would be good if the Blessed One would visit the monk out of sympathy for him. Then the Blessed One, on hearing the word newly ordained, on hearing the word diseased, and realizing that the monk was not well known, went to him. The monk saw the Blessed One coming from afar, and on seeing him, stirred in his bed. And then the Blessed One said, Enough, monk, don't stir in your bed. There are these seats made ready. I will sit down there. And the Blessed One sat down on a seat and said to the monk, I hope you are getting better, monk. I hope you are comfortable. I hope that your pains are lessening and not increasing. I hope that there are signs of their lessening and not of their increasing. And the monk replied, I am not getting better. I am not comfortable. My extreme pains are increasing, not lessening. There are signs of their increasing and not of their lessening. Okay, so I'm going to just break in there for a second. And this is the case. This is something that can happen with the people who are around us when they are ill, or to us when we are ill. When we think of impermanence and this will change, it doesn't mean it's going to change in a way that we perceive as better. There will be a time in our lives where the pain will increase. So the Buddha says, then I hope you have no anxiety, monk. I hope you have no anguish. And the monk says, yes, Lord, I do have not a small amount of anxiety, not a small amount of anguish. So basically what he's saying is, because I think that's phrased in a way that we typically don't phrase things, what he's saying is, I do have anxiety and I do have anguish and a lot of it. And the monk says, the Buddha says, I hope you can't fault yourself with regards to your virtue. And the monk says, no, I can't fault myself with regard to my virtue. And the Buddha says, then what are you anxious about? What is your anguish? And the monk replies, I understand that the Blessed One has not taught the Dhamma with purity of virtue as its goal. So now I'm going to interject again, because you know I wasn't going to just read this without saying things, right? Without making comments. Remember, we've talked about this before. Yes, Buddhism does help us how to live a good life. When I say good, what I mean is there are elements that are teaching us how to treat others well, how to treat ourselves well. We've got the precepts that, help keep us on the path But the point of the teachings of the Buddha isn't just that, or isn't even that. It's to help us gain release from suffering. Now, if we don't live a life with virtue in it, we are not going to have release from suffering. If we bring suffering to ourselves and others, that's not the way to Nibbana, right? So anyway, the monk says, I understand that the Blessed One has taught the Dhamma with the fading of passion as its goal. And the Buddha says, good, monk. It's good that you understand that I have taught the Dhamma with the fading of passion as its goal. For I have taught the Dhamma with the fading of passion as its goal. What do you think, monk? Is the I constant or inconstant? And the monk says, well, inconstant. And he asks him the next question. And that which is inconstant, is that easeful or stressful? And he says, stressful. So now we're getting to things that are impermanent can be stressful, right? Because he says stressful. So the I is inconstant, and inconstant things can be stressful. And it is fitting to regard what is inconstant, stressful, and subject to change as, this is mine, this is myself, this is what I am. No, Lord. Okay. And this is where we're touching, I don't touch on this a lot in our discussions. I don't think that I have. Something maybe for you to ask me about for season 5. We'll see. Basically, the Buddha didn't say there is no self. He taught us that there are things that are not ourselves, so do not attach to them because they are not permanent. And to attach to them would be stressful, which is dukkha, which is suffering, right? So again, I'm going to say it out loud. And is it fitting to regard what is inconstant, stressful, subject to change as, this is mine, this is myself, this is what I am? No, Lord. Is the ear constant or inconstant? And he says, inconstant. Is the nose constant or inconstant? Same answer, inconstant. Is the tongue constant or inconstant? You know the answer, right? Inconstant. Is the body constant or inconstant? Inconstant. What do you think, monk? Is the intellect constant or inconstant? Ooh, that's a tough one, right? I don't know how many of us kind of want to bargain with aging and say, well, I'll be okay as long as I don't lose my mind or get dementia. And, we take the best possible care of ourselves. However, some of us are going to, our intellect is going to be inconstant. Overall, ultimately, for all of us, all of these things are inconstant. And so after all that list of ear, nose, tongue, body, intellect, the Buddha asks him again, and that which is inconstant, is it easeful or stressful? And the monk answers, stressful, Lord. So again, these things are impermanent. These things that are impermanent are not us, and they can be stressful. They can be stressful, especially if we try to cling and hang on to them, then that's going to cause us suffering. Okay, so the Buddha, again, he says, and is it fitting to regard what is inconstant, stressful, subject to change as, this is mine, this is myself, this is what I am? And the monk says, no, Lord. Seeing thus, the instructed disciple of the noble ones grows disenchanted with the eye, disenchanted with the ear, disenchanted with the nose, disenchanted with the tongue, disenchanted with the body, disenchanted with the intellect. Disenchanted, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, he is fully released. With full release, there is the knowledge fully released. He discerns that birth is ended, the holy life is fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for this world. This is what the Blessed One said, and gratified the monk delighted in his words. And while this explanation was being given, there arose in the monk the dustless, stainless Dhamma eye. Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. There we go, ending the sutta with, one of my favorite phrases. It's almost like a mantra to me, but it ties back to the suttas. And in some instances, it's phrased differently, and you've heard me say, whatever arises ceases. And so again, here we're saying whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. And so he doesn't have magical powers to cure the monk from his pain. He doesn't tell the monk he's going to get better. We don't even know if the monk gets better. What he does is he works with him to understand that everything that he has, especially his physical elements, are impermanent, inconstant. And impermanent things, or really hanging on to impermanent things, can be stressful. And sometimes we might view this as mine. Like, what's happening to my eyesight? What's happening to my sense of taste? Why am I getting wrinkles? How come I can't remember the same words that I used to remember? It's one of my favorite ones. Where's that word when I need it? Where is that word when I need it? None of that is me or mine. These are not what I am. Now, this section here, I just want to, where we say grows in disenchanted with the eye, the ear, nose, tongue, body, intellect. To say that doesn't mean, go poke out your eyes, or don't value your vision, or don't use your sense of smell, or don't value your intellect. But what it does mean is don't build a whole self constructed on your sense of smell, or your amazing vision, or your beautiful physique, or your amazing intellect, because these things are not you, and they are inconstant, and they are going to change, and we are going to need to release them. Easier said than done, right? But that is what will help us with the release from suffering, which this monk, when we say, there arose in the monk the dustless, stainless Dhamma eye. He got it. Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. I've got books for you, starting with Carpooling with Death, How Living with Death Will Make You Stronger, Wiser, and Fearless, the book that got me going and helped me to discuss going through the death of my loved ones, followed by Sitting with Death, Buddhist insights to help you face your fears and live a peaceful life, based on Season 1 of the Death Dhamma podcast. And just recently, Enlightenment Unleashed, how your pet can lead you to spiritual transformation, because during our lifetime, we may see the rising and ceasing of many pets, and we love them like they are our family. Find these on Amazon.com, or come see me at MargaretMaloney.com. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on MargaretMaloney.com, MargaretMeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.